Hello. Right, so this is a demonstration of two pouring techniques. One is called an open cup, and the other one is called a swipe. And this is especially for my colleagues at Exeter University who've put up with me talking about this all the time. So I'm now going to show you the sort of thing that I do. First, what I'm going to do is an open cup. Now, generally, basically, it's a cup which you cut the bottom off, but I'm going to use one of these little molds because it's reusable, so very green. I have started mixing colours. However, I will now mix one colour for you just to show you what I use for mixing. I like using these little silicone cups because they're completely reusable. And I'm going to go for the cheap seats. So we're going to start with some PVA glue. Now, there's all sorts of pouring mediums that you can use to get different effects. But for the cost for the actual result, I think you can't really get cheaper than this. So I'm going to use 1/3 of the PVA. One problem with silicone cups, because they're silicone, they are a little bit flexible and they can tend to pour stuff all over you. 1/3 water. And I'm going to add 2 drops of silicone oil. Now you can use any sort of, you can use a bit washing up liquid or anything. This is just to promote cells. So cells are formed when the surface is broken up by a colour underneath the surface. So both these techniques involve what we call the base colour, in this case black, being broken up by different colours. So this one I'm going to do is called fluorescent pink. So this should be nice and bright. And here we go for paint. Right. When you start mixing this, it does start mixing a little bit on the sort of watery side, and as you start, exactly. So I will keep this upright. And as you mix in, the paint and the PVA will start dissolving and bonding to each other, and you will end up with something that we can actually use. Now, as you can see by the other colours, it's a sort of thick. It's coming up nicely now. So the water. Don't worry about the PVA being white, because it will dry clear. If you've ever used PVA before, I'm sure you all have at school if you haven't with your kids. And as you can see, it sort of forms a little bit of a sort of blob on the surface, but that sort of disappears quickly. And that's about the right sort of consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency for what we're doing here. Now, I've already managed to get paint all over my hands, and that is because, even though I forgot to put them on, you will definitely need gloves for the next bit, unless you're aiming to put fingerprints everywhere. So, the silicone oil itself, this silicone oil was about, this one was, I think, about £6, £7. It doesn't look like much, but we are only talking about 2 drops per colour for these sort of mixes. You can use more, and some people even use it with a dropper or a spray afterwards to make their own sort of bubbles of colour on top. Right. First one we're going to do is going to do the open cup. 2 reasons. 1, this is the most fun. And 2, it makes the most mess. So from here on in, I should be fairly safe as far as getting paint anyway. Right. So the idea is, as I said, is to get the colours, which are going to be fed in through the hole in the open cup, to come up under your base coat. Now, this board, I have taken a normal canvas. I think it's about £3-4 this one. And I've popped in pins at the side. That means that when the colours run off, they're not going to stick the canvas to whatever you've put it on to dry, which is nice. The other thing, of course, is for a pour, you need to get it absolutely level. So what I did was I put this down on the flat table, which I used a spirit level on, and then I put the feet in, use the spirit level again, and just tap them down so that I know this is completely level. This isn't completely level, but it's not going to be on here for too long, so this is fine. Here we go. First thing we've got to do is we've got to decide where we're going to start from. Traditionally, you'll start from the centre because these pouring techniques rely on the fact that all of the paints remain liquid while you're working with them. So once they're on the canvas, you can tip the canvas to make it flow. You can blow the paint across. You can use tools. You can add more paint. Nice thing about pouring is it's very, I was going to say it's almost sort of like a mental exercise. It does make you feel quite in control.
It's quite forgiving.
It's very forgiving, and not only is it forgiving, I think it's also, you know, these sort of mindfulness things where you can just lose yourself in what you're doing and not worry about whether you're making great art. And sometimes it just really surprises you and comes out absolutely fantastic. Right, so here I go. I'm going to start pouring around the base. So this is the paint that the colours are going to come out underneath. Now I'll put a bit in each corner. Yep, put a bit in each corner.
No, seriously. By the cup.
It will flow, so don't worry if you've got any gaps or any big holes. Because right now I'm going to start. Doesn't matter what order you want to do your colours. Doesn't matter which colours you do. If you've got a room with a certain colour tone, you can actually do a piece of work just for that room, just by matching the colours in the room. I've heard of people doing colours to match their favourite budgerigar. Now, colour groups. A lot of people say, "Oh, you must have colours from certain groups," and apart from my wife's real hate of using any green.
It's not that. It's just when you get green and red together, they go brown.
That's true.
Which is fine if you want brown, but not great if you don't.
So I'm filling this bucket up. As you can see, I'm just pouring in different colours. Okay, here we go. Right, I need a bit more red in there. Right, now you can, of course, be doing this as you go along. But as you can see already,
it's escaping.
The colours are escaping. Some of them escape on top, some of them escape underneath.
Don't mix it too much.
Oh, no, I'm just getting the colour.
Not unbossy or anything.
I am going to put black in the middle because I don't like the blob of colour that appears in the middle. Also gives it, on this sort of thing, it gives it a, I don't know, sort of area of negative space, if you like, to give your eyes somewhere to rest. Otherwise, some of these paints can be a little bit over coloured. Personal opinion. Right, okay.
Now, you should have told Daniel that we were recording that.
Ah, yes, my 17-year-old son upstairs.
That's nice to hear.
Right, already that looks pretty psychedelic, doesn't it? But now we have the fun part. So, I'm going to gently move the paint around the canvas. The idea is, obviously, to cover the whole canvas. Some people get a little bit concerned about going over the edges and making all the edges nice, but just go around with plain black afterwards on the edges and tidy them up. If you find you've got a corner that you just couldn't get to, you didn't want to spoil the
composition. I love that yellow bit in the middle. That's pretty jazzy.
Now, if I keep it intact, that's the other thing as well. You don't get too over. Oh, bubble.
Hey. Stress.
And the other thing about pouring is because you really are using very liquid paint, you can put a lot on the canvas, and then if you lose it, like that corner there, it doesn't really matter. You've still got enough to carry on and give this canvas a good coating. As I say, sometimes you have to bring the centre back, and especially with something like this where you've got this lovely sort of golden flower.
That's a jazzy boy right there. Okay.
Pull it across just to see if I can get that corner done. Yeah, and let's see if we can get that last corner in there, and then recenter the paint. Sorry, you can't see this very clearly, or you probably can from the top camera, can't you?
It's not too bad.
And let's bring this whole thing back to the centre. Right, now we can do two things with one go here. We can get rid of those bubbles, and we can start seeing if we can bring out some of that silicone by using a blowtorch. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Kevin and fire, this is not a good idea. And because of the sides of this, it does get a bit flamey, unfortunately. See what I mean?
You always have too much gas as well.
Right, now can we see all of those lovely little cells that have popped up? So this is where the silicone, which was hidden in our paints, has now started popping through. So nope, break up the miasma on the surface of the black paint and it's coming through. Miasma? Did I say miasma? I didn't mean miasma.
What did you mean?
I meant Duran.
Meniscus.
Barbara. Meniscus, that's it. Sorry, miasma.
Duran, Barbara.
No, miasma.
That was miasma.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I got it from. Yeah. Yes, so I hope you like that. It's not my normal colour scheme. If you've seen any of the pictures, I normally do lots of blues and silvers and purples. This is very much, pink and yellow. It's
a jazzy boy.
It is a jazzy boy. Right, I'm going to put some new gloves on. I'm going to take this one away and I'm going to go straight on and do a swipe.
Exciting.
I know. So we're going to use the same colours. And this is a completely different technique. What I've suddenly realised is that I've forgotten my swipey boy. So I'm just going to make up a quick one. That's what she said. So for a swipe, you just need something slightly bendy that you can pull the paint over the liquid. Now I've got one that I did earlier. Let's see if this one looks big enough, doesn't it?
Oh, that's scary.
Right, so let's just make sure that clean enough. Feels like clean enough. Right. I have prepared under the table some spots to put fingers on, which are absolutely flat. Because I'm actually, for once in my life, I know this video appears like chaos, but actually it's taken us like 2 hours to get to this point. Right, okay, so that's out of the way. Look at that beautiful colour there. We're now going to get another canvas. Roger.
Here's my prepared.
Again, 50% water, 50% black paint. That's because I'm going for a black base. But of course, you can use any colour base you want. I've seen some fantastic dark reds and blues. Some people have done like almost like beach scenes with waves. So light blue. White is another nice common one to use because it brings out the colours in the same way the black does. Right. Swipe. So the idea of a swipe is you can use little tools and do little swipes. You can use a big flexible edge. Some people use cling film, a bit of plastic, as long as it's actually flat. And you're going to draw your foundation, your base coat, over the top of your colours. So what I'm going to do is for this one is I'm going to put my base in the middle and then I'm going to draw it up over the tops of colours and down over colours. So I'm going to do two lines of colour paint. Just to get some sort of pattern in, I'm going to as you can see, do this 2/3 mark. Not to worry. This is the nice thing about this sort of paint. You don't have to worry if you do that. Those blobs, those little drops, they're all going to become part of the great work that is this.
Great hole.
Oh, I've done you. I've done you. I've done you. Now, as I said at the start of this is the cheap way of doing things. I've used the larger sizes just because it works out cheaper. I also bought my canvases. I bought 18 canvases because it works out about £3 each. So,
but not everyone can afford
not everyone can afford that. So go to somewhere like Hobbycraft, The Works, and get cheap canvases to start with. You'll find that the more expensive canvases will hold the paint better because they're actually stretch better. And if you're doing a really heavy pour, obviously I would suggest you get a very good canvas. The alternative is to use a board. And a lot of people do swipes on boards. I've seen people do them on trays and on metal things as well. So do not worry too much about your materials. It's not a case of, you know, maybe it would be with something like pencils or pastels where the high quality ones will give you a much superior finish. So just have some.
Just have a go, really.
Have a go. Yeah, I do want to say have a go because that sounds sort of dismissive and sort of like sort of thing we say to our kids. But
yeah, but you don't want to be put off just because you haven't got like top of the range materials, because it's not about top of the range materials. It's
no.
You having a try and enjoying it.
Right, here we go. This is it, guys. So I'm going to start from the centre and make sure my swipey boy is fully swiped.
Swiping. Oops.
Ooh. I'm going to have to just touch up that edge. Ooh. Oh, it's sprayed far too much there.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that one looks alright. What happened?
I was too hard with my back straight. What I should have done is turn my scraper around because it had a slight bend on it.
Right.
I've taken a lot of the paint off, unfortunately.
Right, so what are you going to do?
Well, I'm just going to be a bit lazy. I'm going to try and draw back the heavy paint from one side over to the other. But I'm not happy with that, so here we go. Put black on again.
Yeah, I've got a couple of colours so you can
I'm going to put a couple of colours on, yeah, especially that silver, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, that was making a nice band. Ooh. Oh, I'm going to go a bit blobby, am I? I'm missing the entrance, am I?
As it were.
Okay. That blue, that bright one, I think, with the blue look nice in it.
Yeah, I would say panic is the mother of invention.
Yeah. If I can't do it wrong on video,
unlike
like those people who
only
ever do perfectly on video, they never make mistakes, ever. I'm not that person. Right, here we go.
Gently. Ooh, interesting.
I don't know how to do that little bit. Okay.
Good flappy boy.
Good flappy boy.
As you can see, so you can use smaller scrapers. I got these up a Wish. They're dead cheap. They're just nice silicone tools.
Whoops, lazy. Too much paint. Oh my god, too much paint. That's alright. What the hell? You can't just go with it.
Right. See what happens.
We're faking. Right, we faked it.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till we make it. Let's get rid of some of that extra paint off. Too much paint. What are you doing? Don't look.
I can see you from above.
Oh no. I'm just trying to make it
Seriously, give it a little flame, see what happens.
Okay.
Just a gentle.
I'm just getting the weight of the paint back to the centre of the canvas again.
Just a little bit, otherwise you can have weird striations.
Right, okay.
Burn it.
Burn it with fire. Okay.
And remember, don't put the gas up too high this time.
You need to be recycled. Here for a second.
You got this, Kev. You got this.
I got it, okay. I've got it. Alright.
Twisting it the right way.
I'm twisting it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it, guys?
Yeah. It's not bad though.
That's very interesting. Since I haven't got any white now, I'm wondering how I'm getting white. I can only assume that's
the silver.
That's the silver that, yeah, coming through
It's
there.
not actually white.
Well, I don't know what to think of that one, to be honest, because it did go terribly wrong there.
However, when it dries, and it will dry, and it will probably look completely different when it dries anyway, there are ways to fix.
There are ways to fix everything. Right, again, I need to wear gloves.
And also, if you keep it flat enough, you can always reuse the canvas. If the very worst comes to worst.
Yeah.
I kind of like the colour scheme though.
Yeah, I do like
weird.
It's blue
From
and
this side, it kind of looks like a weird, like cityscape. Like the silver's like almost like a, I don't know, a river or something, and then you've got the buildings in the background and the foreground. So you've got blue buildings in the foreground, which is weird, and then the red and black at the back. I kind of like it.
Right.
There's also a creepy skull in there as well.
There are some faces in there.
But there's always faces in there. Human beings are programmed to see faces.
I've got a little bit of block.
No. That's probably where you cooked it a bit.
Okay, that's my blobs that way. It's all right. It's still very wet. It's going to change over time. Right. So I've got time and I've got paint. So I'm going to try something I've not actually tried before, but I've seen on a lot of YouTube videos. Which, oh, look at the colours there. That's beautiful. Is called a string pour. Now the idea of string pour. Sorry, not a string pour. It is a sort of associated pour because what we're going to do is
association.
Yeah. We're going to start with paint on that. We're going to start with just basically a black. Of course, I'm going to get paint there.
Yeah, no one knows.
No one knows this much. So, it should be fun. So, not done one of these before. As I understand it, we have to just make sure that we've got a nice even coating across the.
Yeah, we need it fairly moist. Can't have it too dry.
Right.
Basically, it's a wet on wet technique.
Okay.
If you're into that sort of thing. Wow, that's a perfectly valid painting term.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
Yeah. Wet on wet.
Oh, wet.
We like our perfectly valid painting terms.
That is a perfectly valid painting term.
Right.
Wet on wet technique.
I think
That with acrylic, obviously.
that will have to do. It will even out a bit.
It will settle. You've got a couple of bubbles in one pop before you start. You've got your acrylic ones.
Right. Right, okay. I'm hoping that will be sufficient. Put some more in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you try and
still got those pot bubbles.
Our cups and stuff, even the plastic cups, we'll try and reuse as many times as we can before we get rid of them.
Yeah, you can see that with some of the colours in the cup. Right, now I'm going to have to put another pair of gloves on that. That's the same I'm not reusing.
They are hardest to reuse when you've got colours in because you don't want to muddy things up.
Right, I'm going to use one hand for the actual string. Right, so the idea of this one is we're going to put strings down with colours on them, and then we're going to pull the strings off the painting, hopefully leaving a nice crown of the colour that's on the string. So,
I want to move the Okay, let's look at these swings.
So as you can see, I put folded strings in, and I'm just going to pour in some colour. I don't know what colours how they'll mix. So this could be interesting.
You've seen this on YouTube. He has no idea how it works IRL.
Yeah.
In real life, I think. So.
Well, since you're saying it virtually. IRL is something different.
I'm virtually saying it.
I don't know if this is going to work.
Don't put your finger over it, John.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not fun songs.
Yeah, you're closer to the mic than me, so don't hold my mic to. Right, okay, so I have literally, well, you can see that, I've just literally covered the strings in colour.
You can always show
And
the
now,
above camera as well.
yeah, we can see it on the above camera. Let's leave it out a minute. Right, let's see if I can do this. Right, first one. Oh, like that.
That was a quite one. Yeah, that's it. Oh, what? Okay.
Not long enough. I should have got longer string.
Maybe just make them closer to the edge.
Okay.
Just a thought. Let's do it a bit.
Well, what I'm going to do these pulls. And then I'm going to do the last pull over the middle to hopefully do it.
Understand.
Let's get some colour on that canvas.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Never done this before. The idea is apparently we just pull the strings off the canvas.
One end, it tends to work better if you do only for one end at a time. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. One end at a time.
Makes it more flowery. Not that I've ever done this before. She has definitely done this before. I also would probably more wiggle in the string in the first place.
Yeah, right. My first time. Stop hyper-criticizing.
Virgin boy. Bet you wish you put 2 gloves on now.
Yeah.
It's alright, it's still pretty.
Right, hang on. My last one in the middle.
But I like the way it went under the black though. That was quite cool. I've not seen it do that before.
Obviously, I put too much black down.
No, it's fine. No, it looks about the right amount of black. It just looked like, yeah.
No, I think I put too much black. He says pulling the colours under the.
Yeah, but when you flame it, because normally you would do this without silicone oil, but since you've got silicone oil, imagine what's going to happen when you flame that black image.
Straw. I need a straw to do that, but I'm not going to do a. I'm not going to waste the straw.
Don't waste the straw. I mean, I've got some metal straws in the kitchen, but
no, sorry. Where are you going?
But seriously, flame it because I reckon you'll get cells on that where it's gone under the black.
Flame on.
Okay. I mean, normally you wouldn't need to flame this because this is pull and that normally goes pretty straight. However, since we have silicone on in those bad boys, we might as well make the most of it while we're here. This actually works.
You have to say it. I have ordered one of those. Right.
So this is a string thing.
Yeah, I just need to tidy up the black here. I don't know why it's not going on alright. That's alright. We have more black.
We have the technology, we can rebuild it.
Practice.
You might need to push that off. Just to push it off.
Right, I do. I think I need to give it a little bit of
TLC.
tilt.
I mean, luckily you did pretty good off.
It's alright.
You feel good about using another glass, don't you?
I do.
Oh well. It's understandable. It's quite pretty.
Thank you.
I like the composition. But then you know me, I like it where you've got big bright colours in some place and then nothing in the rest of it.
Right, well,
I think that's going to
I think I'll
dry
tip
really
that a
nicely.
little bit much. Let's just tip that back.
Not at such speed, you're going to lose all your detail.
Okay. I've got some nice edging detail. Right, so we're going to put this to dry somewhere, and then we'll see how that looks.
I think you might have to leave it there.
I'll leave it there for the time being. Also gives me a chance to finish those last edges.
Fart around.
Yes. Well, guys, I hope you can see that through my incompetence, if nothing else, this is something everyone can do, and it's a lot of fun. And the results, I hope, well, as I say, they are literally a surprise every time. I'm sure there are some professionals out there who can visualise something and create it using pouring techniques, but I am definitely not one of
Who
those.
wants to be one of those boring people?
Exactly. So have fun, enjoy. It's not the most dear of things to do, and well, actually, I think it's one of the cheaper, especially as you can use old paints and you can use cheap alternatives to pouring medium like PVA glue. You can use washing up liquid instead of silicone oil and water. You're probably okay with water. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you've, I hope you have a go. Thank you very much. Bye. Black me, eye. Well, you can always put a comment over the thing.
What's
As he said goodbye, he put black paint